Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here. And in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings and Yahoo for Monday, February the 7th. Now we do have a shorter Monday slate. We just got a little 5-game slate today. But as always guys, we're going to talk through each one of these 5 games. We're going to break down each team, kind of give my early thoughts, what I do like, taking a first look at this slate on Sunday night. And then as we do go through each game, we will build out an early core. We'll talk about 5 players that specifically stand out to me on both DraftKings and on Yahoo. But before we get started with the breakdown, as always, guys, please do hit the like button down below. I do always appreciate the likes. If you're new to the channel, make sure you click that subscribe button as well. And if you have not yet, go check out the sponsor of this video, PrizePicks. So PrizePicks is a newer DFS site, up-and-coming DFS site that is more focused on player props. So it's not like DraftKings or Yahoo or FanDuel where you're building out a lineup, you're competing against other players. This is basically just you versus the house. It's you versus their projections. So as you can see, they do have projections posted already for Monday's NBA games. And as we get closer to tip-off Monday night, there's going to be a ton more stuff posted. They have point projections, assists, rebounds, points, rebounds, assists, all added up together. They have three-pointers made. They'll have fancy point projections posted as well. And you're just picking one way or the other. You pick over or under if you have a lean one way or the other. You have to make at least 2 picks, but you can make up to 5 picks. You can win up to 10 extra money over on PrizePicks. And I believe right now PrizePicks is running a promo heading up to Super Bowl Sunday on Sunday. Next Sunday, that is. They're running a promo where they have a challenge you have to do each day. If you complete that challenge each day and you do every challenge heading up to Sunday, you get a $500 entry to have a chance to win $5,000. It's basically a $500 flex, 5-pick flex entry that you get to use, I'm assuming, on the Super Bowl for a chance to win $5,000. So cool promo that PrizePicks is running for Super Bowl Sunday, or heading up to Super Bowl Sunday. I will definitely be trying to complete all those challenges and win that entry myself. But if you guys are new here and you want to check out PrizePicks, you can go check them out. You can sign up and use code NOAH when you do, and PrizePicks will give you a 100% match on your first deposit up to $100. You can take a look at their platform, make some picks for tonight's NBA games, see what PrizePicks has to offer. But yeah, guys, let's take a look at this slate. We're going to start off with the first game of the night, the Raptors and the Hornets. And starting off on the Raptors side, the Raptors, I think, are one of the more appealing teams on this slate just because it is a really good spot for them against the Hornets. We know the Hornets do play at a fairly fast pace. Their defense has kind of been improving lately, but I still think this is definitely one of the better matchups that you can get. And we kind of know when it comes to the Raptors, we know the guys we want to target. It's going to be the top 5 guys, the 5 starters. Siakam, Van Vliet, OG, Scotty Barnes, Gary Trent. We say it every video. If it's a close game, you're getting 35, 36 minutes from all 5 of those guys. I think Siakam at 9,200 looks like one of the better pay-up options on this slate. Again, we only have 5 games today, so it's not like a super loaded slate. We don't have like a lot of the top studs that we would normally pay up for. Guys like Jokic and Giannis and LeBron and Joel Embiid, like none of those guys, Luka, none of those guys are on this slate today. So I think Siakam in this good matchup against Charlotte is a pretty good pay-up option at 9,200. We know Siakam's going to play 40-plus minutes if this is a close game. Did really well against Charlotte earlier this season, 55 DraftKings points in 39 minutes. Charlotte's normally been a pretty bad defensive team against big men, so I think it's a really, really good spot for Siakam. I like him quite a bit on this slate. I think he looks really good on Yahoo. If you want to play him over there at the center position, $42 at center. I think Siakam's a very good play on both sides. And then the other Raptors, Van Vliet at 8,500, I have a good amount of interest in as well. I think it's a really good spot for Van Vliet. Should be playing a ton of minutes if it's a close game. We know Van Vliet offers big-time upside. I think at 8,500, he is firmly in play today. I think OG Anunoby, if this game's close, we're getting 35, 36 minutes from OG. His upside may not be as high as guys like Siakam and Van Vliet. I think his ceiling is not as high as those guys, but he does have a pretty safe floor. Most nights OG is going to give you 35, 36 DraftKings points, and on his good nights, he'll randomly pop off at times, give you 45, 50. Given how good of a matchup it is, I think OG is viable. Gary Trent, I like quite a bit. Him and Scotty Barnes, I think, are in play. Scotty Barnes, kind of the same thing when it comes to him and OG. Him and OG are kind of similar players. Scotty Barnes, one of these guys that can kind of contribute in all categories. We haven't seen like a massive ceiling for Scotty Barnes. You look at his game log, over his last 10 games, it's a lot of, solid games, 35, 36 DK points. Rarely does Scotty Barnes go out there and put up like a 50 bomb. We just haven't kind of seen that, massive ceiling from him. But he's going to play big minutes. He can, kind of stuff the stat sheet. He can do a little bit of everything. No issues with Scotty Barnes today in a good matchup. Gary Trent, though, I do like quite a bit. Probably my second favorite play on Toronto behind Siakam. Gary Trent, 6,300. We've actually seen a pretty big ceiling from Gary Trent as of late. He's been shooting the ball a ton. He's been playing huge minutes as well. The game log was really, really good for those stretch of games. I think it was like, yeah, 5 straight games for Gary Trent with at least 40 DraftKings points. Last 2 games, he's kind of come back down to earth, but the minutes are still there. The opportunity's still there. He's still taking a good amount of shots when he's on the court. Gary Trent is kind of a scoring-dependent player. At 6,300, rostering a guy at this price tag that has to hit his shots to get there is always a little bit riskier. But with just how many minutes he's playing right now, given how good of a matchup it is, given how fast-paced of a game this should be, I think the ceiling, the upside is definitely there for Gary Trent. I think at 6,300, he looks like another pretty solid play from this Raptors team. And if you want to play Gary Trent on Yahoo at $24, I think it looks like a pretty good play over there as well. So definitely like Trent, Siakam, Van Vliet, I think is a pretty solid play. OG, Scotty Barnes, no issues with them either. The rest of Toronto, I'm not too excited about. I don't think I'd be going to any of the bench guys. So that's probably it from the Raptors. And then on the Hornets side, the Hornets, they're kind of another team that runs a pretty tight rotation. They're going to give their main guys pretty big minutes. On this slate specifically, I don't know if there's anyone from Charlotte that stands out as like a standout play. Obviously, LaMelo has a ton of upside. It can put up a big game any night. On this slate, I don't think LaMelo at 9,400 is like a guy that I'm really going to be prioritizing. Bridges and Rozier are both fine. 7,700 for Bridges. Miles Bridges, if this is a close game, like he's going to play close to 40 minutes, offers plenty of upside. Just, 7,700, think he's priced where he should be. Mason Plumlee, kind of want to talk about him just because his minutes have actually been really good lately. We've seen Mason Plumlee get like into the 30s in minutes. Last game he only played 24, but that was without him playing in the fourth quarter. It was a blowout. And then the Clippers game, I believe, was also a blowout. He did not play in the fourth quarter of that game. But you look at these close games lately, 30 minutes from Plumlee, 32, 38, 32, blowout against Indiana, still played 27. Like they've been giving Plumlee, close to 30 minutes in competitive games. Mason Plumlee is actually a pretty good producer when he's on the court. He can kind of do everything. He can score, he can get rebounds, he can get assists, he can get defensive stats. Like, I don't mind Mason Plumlee on the slate at 5,400. I think if he continues to play around 30 minutes, like, he's pretty likely to give you a decent score at his price point. Kelly Oubre coming off the bench, more of a riskier option, always has a big ceiling, but probably not going to be someone that I really go to. I think Gordon Hayward at 5K looks pretty good. Gordon Hayward, last 2 games since coming back from, protocols has not been great. 29 minutes, 22 minutes. But that was a back-to-back. I think it was kind of expected that Hayward would be a little bit rusty coming back. He would also be a little bit limited on the back-to-back. Well, now he's had 2 days or a day and a half, I think, or about 2 days to rest up for this game. Hayward should be good to go to get back to close to 30 minutes. I don't know if we're going to get like 36 minutes from Gordon Hayward today, but man, I think if he plays like 30, 32 minutes, at 5K, like this is one of the cheapest price tags we've seen on Gordon Hayward basically all season. Like I don't think he's been this cheap. He hasn't been in the 5K price point basically all season. So 5K Gordon Hayward, I do like quite a bit on the slate. If you want to go to him, I think he's a pretty solid play on DraftKings. On Yahoo, his prices also come down a little bit over there, $20. I think you could definitely play Gordon Hayward on both sides today. Probably my favorite play from the Charlotte team in general. But that's it for Charlotte. I think we can move on to the next game, talk about Miami and Washington. So Miami today, really big news to keep an eye on. Right now, Jimmy Butler and Tyler Hero are both currently questionable. This is obviously huge news. If Jimmy Butler and Tyler Hero both do not play, we kind of know where we want to go. It's going to be Bam Adebayo. It's going to be Kyle Lowry. Both Bam and Lowry, I think, would be fantastic plays today if Jimmy and Hero are both out. If Jimmy plays and Hero's out, I think that makes Lowry look a little bit more appealing just because I think if Hero's out, that benefits Lowry a little bit. Don't know if Lowry would be a priority play for me, but he'd be at least viable in my opinion if Hero sits. I think if Jimmy's out and Hero plays, then I think Bam, Lowry, Hero would all look pretty appealing. Jimmy being out would be a really big injury because Jimmy, such a high usage player, plays a lot of minutes. Getting him off the floor, it's going to benefit all those other guys. So a lot of big news to kind of watch here with Miami. Right now, if everyone plays, which I'm kind of expecting to be the case, I don't think there's a ton that stands out from the Heat. Jimmy Butler always offers plenty of upside, but in 9,700, I think he's priced where he should be. Same with Bam Adebayo at 9K. Lowry and Hero, I don't really play that often when Jimmy and Bam are healthy, so I don't think I'd be going to them on this slate if Jimmy and Bam are both in. The rest of Miami, I'm not really excited about. These value guys I would only be going to if Jimmy gets ruled out, if Hero gets ruled out. Then we can start to look to guys like Gabe Vincent and Max Strus and Caleb Martin. But for now, Miami's kind of a stay away from me if everyone is able to play. And then on the Wizards side, we know Bradley Beal's still going to be out, so Kyle Kuzma, Spencer Dinwiddie are both going to be big beneficiaries. Last game against Phoenix, they just got the absolute crap beat out of them. The Wizards literally scored 80 points in that game. It was a super low-scoring game, super sloppy game. They got blown out. None of the starters played in the fourth quarter. Kuzma only played 24 minutes. He was pretty bad. Same with Dinwiddie. I would be fine going back to Dinwiddie and Kuzma today. Obviously, the matchup against Miami is probably not ideal. I think if Jimmy gets ruled out, that makes a slightly better spot for these Wizards guys. A little bit of blowout risk here, but if this game can stay close, I mean, we're going to get 35, 36 minutes from Kyle Kuzma. He has shown a lot of upside whenever Beal's been out this year. So I think Kuzma's definitely in play. I think Spencer Dinwiddie is firmly in play as well. Again, if this game's close, he probably plays like low 30s minutes, 33, 32, 33 minutes. At 6,200, we've seen Dinwiddie offer upside to pay off this price tag whenever Beal's been out. I mean, he put up a triple-double the other night against Philly, 30 minutes and 47 DK points. Like, he can put up those type of games whenever Beal's off the floor. So, I think Dinwiddie's firmly in play today. Him and Kuzma, I both do have interest in. And then when it comes to the big, so right now, Daniel Gafford is going to be out for Washington. So, I'm expecting we probably see the center minutes split between Montrezl Harrell and Thomas Bryant. Now, Thomas Bryant, ever since he got inserted to the starting lineup, he's not been that productive, and really just all season he hasn't been that productive. I think we get like low 20s minutes from Thomas Bryant, and at 3,400, it's not a good matchup against Bam, but you're going to need some size out there against Bam, so I think we will see Harrell and Bryant split the center minutes. Again, Harrell probably plays more, but he's also more expensive. Bryant's only 3,400. I think if you want to go to him as a punt value play, I don't hate it. Don't hate Harrell either at 4,700. I think Harrell's fine. But really, Kuzma and Dinwiddie are the two guys that I like most from this Wizards team. And that's it for Washington. We can move on to the next game, talk about Phoenix and Chicago. So in Phoenix today, Chris Paul, Devin Booker, I mean, their roles as of late have just been so good that I think both these guys are totally viable here. Chris Paul, if this game's close, I mean, he's going to play close to 40 minutes. Like, they've been giving CP3 38, 40 minutes in close games lately. Obviously, last game was a blowout, so he didn't play all in the fourth quarter, but he would have played 38, 40 minutes in that game had it stayed close. I think at 9,600, with how much CP3's playing lately, with how many minutes he's getting, he's totally fine to go to on this slate. I think the same could be said for Devin Booker. Devin Booker is going to play, probably around 40 minutes if this is a close game. It's a big-time game against the Bulls. I think this is a game that we're going to see, huge minutes from both CP3 and Booker. So definitely think Devin Booker and CP3 are both in play today. DeAndre Ayton, I'm not as high on at 7,200. Now, he was really, really good last game against the Wizards. Put up 48 Draftkings points in only 24 minutes. Since he's come back, he really hasn't played a ton. Last game, I think he would have played. He obviously would have played more than 24 minutes had the game stayed close. Does DeAndre Ayton play like 36 minutes a day? I don't think so. I think he's still going to be kept around, the low 30s, maybe even like 28, 30. If he can't play his full minutes right now, it's going to be tough to go to Ayton. If they're going to keep him in the high 20s, low 30s, going to be tough to pay 7,200 for him. Ayton is a guy that does offer a lot of upside. He's a really, really good player. He's a really good producer when he's on the court. But I really want to see the minute ceiling from him, and until we see that, I think it's going to be tough to go to Ayton. Bridges, Mikal Bridges has been playing great lately. He's going to play huge minutes as well. He's going to play like 40 minutes if this is a close game, but man, you're really paying a premium right now for Mikal Bridges. I don't expect him to put up 40 Draftkings points a night moving forward. Mikal Bridges has never really been a great point-per-minute player. He's a really good defender. He's a really good player in general, but for fantasy, he's not a guy that really goes out there and stuffs the stat sheet. So I'm fine just kind of avoiding Bridges at 6,100. And the rest of Phoenix, I'm not really that into. I think we can go ahead and talk about the other side of this game and talk about the Bulls. So the Bulls right now, another team, kind of similar to the Heat. It's just a wait and see here for Chicago. Zach LaVine and Kobe White were both questionable on Sunday, and both of them did not play. They're questionable again for Monday's game. If LaVine and Kobe White play, I think the Bulls are a team we can almost full fade. Vooch and DeRozan are obviously really expensive right now because they've been priced up a lot for when LaVine has been out the last few games. And both Vooch and DeRozan specifically has been playing really, really well lately without LaVine. I think these guys at these price tags, I think Vooch and DeRozan would only be in play for me if LaVine gets ruled out. If LaVine plays, I just don't really like anything here just because everyone's so expensive. I think where the price tags are at, there's nobody that really stands out from Chicago. But by some chance, if LaVine and White are both out again, then we can start to look to Vooch, we can look to DeRozan, we can look to Ayo. Those will be the three guys that we could go to. I think those will be the three guys you expect to play big minutes to really dominate the usage. Then I do want to mention Javonte Green just as a value play. Javonte Green, he's never really been a great producer, but he's been starting lately, and he's been playing around 30 to 32 minutes a night. Again, he's never been a great point per minute player, but the minutes are there. He's cheap still. At 4,200, like, I don't mind Javonte Green as a value option if you're looking for a cheap small forward. We'll have to wait and see like what other value opens up as the day goes on. But I think for now, as a first look value play, Javonte Green is someone we can definitely go to. And I'm fine plugging him into a kind of our early core. Just for now, 4,200 on DraftKings. I'm pretty sure he's minimum salary on Yahoo as well. So if you definitely want, or $14, his price tag did go up a little bit there, but I definitely think Javonte Green, just kind of as a first look value, is good to go to for now. We'll have to wait and see what other value we get, but I like Green as a pay down option. The rest of the Bulls, though, probably going to have to wait and see if Levine and White play, because that's going to impact my interest in all these other guys. But that's it for this game. We'll move on to the next one, talk about Golden State and OKC. So Golden State today, Steph Curry at 10,500. I don't hate going to on this slate. There's a little bit of worry here with some blowout risk against OKC. OKC, obviously a really, really bad team right now. They're missing SGA. They could be without Lou Dort as well. Definitely a spot where you could see Steph Curry only play like 3 quarters. But if this game is close, Steph could put up a massive outing here. Steph is a guy that we know has massive upside and can put up 60-plus DraftKings points any night. The one issue with Steph is that he does have a very low floor. He's a very score-dependent player. When he's not hitting his shots, he just, he can put up really disappointing games. But on a 5-game slate with not a ton of pay-up options, I think Steph is viable. Andrew Wiggins at 6,500. I don't love at that price tag. Klay Thompson at 6,300. Klay was actually really, really good last game in only 24 minutes. Put up 42 DraftKings points. Klay's minutes have slowly started to kind of trick up a little bit. I'd expect we get like 27, 28 minutes from Klay today. He's been playing like in the he was playing in the low 20s at first, and now he's starting to creep up into the mid 20s, and now he's starting to get into the high 20s. So I think like 28, 29 minutes from Klay is pretty doable here. 6,300 is a pretty high price tag for Klay, especially when he's only playing like 28 minutes. But his usage has just been really good when he's been out there. He's been a really productive player so far this season. I wouldn't be surprised if Klay goes out there and puts up 40 DraftKings points in 28 minutes. So, like, Klay, I don't mind on this shorter slate. I think he's viable. Jordan Poole, I don't really have any interest in. Otto Porter is questionable again, so keep an eye on this. If he does get ruled out, we'll probably see Moses Moody start again. Moses Moody is really cheap, 3,200. Not a great point per minute player, but again, he's 3,200. He probably starts and plays like 25, 30 minutes. So if you need a punt value play, if Moses Moody is starting again, I don't hate going to him. But that's probably it from Golden State, I think. So moving on to the OKC side, the Thunder, definitely a scary spot here because there is a lot of blowout risk against this really good Warriors team. But without SGA, we should expect a pretty heavy role for Josh Giddey. These last 2 games without SGA, Giddey has not really been that good. Really, the last 3 games I think it's been 4 games now without SGA. It's not been good for Giddey. He hasn't really been that productive. He hasn't shown a massive ceiling yet, but we know Giddey can put up big games. We know he can kind of stuff the stat sheet, can do a little bit of everything. Some of his best games this season have come whenever SGA has been off the floor. If this game does stay close, you would have to think it's probably because Giddey is playing really well and putting up a good outing. So Giddey, more of a tournament option, but I think it's totally viable. If Lou Dort plays, I think at 6,100, I'm fine going to Lou Dort. He's been really good these last few games without SGA, been playing really well, been scoring a ton, been taking a ton of shots. They're obviously going to want him out there guarding Steph. So I think Lou Dort's definitely viable if he plays. If he doesn't play, it makes Giddey look a little bit better. Darius Bazley, I actually like quite a bit. I haven't really been on Darius Bazley much this season, but the last few slates I have played Bazley, and it's gone pretty well, and his role has been really good lately. They've been starting to give Bazley big minutes. We saw he was kind of like in the doghouse for a while. He wasn't really playing a ton of minutes. We saw Bazley, though, be really, really good last season, was really productive on a point-per-minute basis, and we're starting to see that Darius Bazley again, getting big minutes, being really productive. He's averaged about a fancy point per minute these last few games. You look at the minutes, though, 36, 36, 37 the last 3 games. He's playing high 30s minutes. He's 5,400. He's still somewhat affordable. Obviously, the price tag came up a lot from what it was last slate, but I definitely think Darius Bazley, especially if he continues to play these high 30s minutes, at 5,400, he's going to be a viable option. I do like Darius Bazley on both sides. If you want to go to him on Yahoo, I think you can definitely play him over there. $18, I do like him quite a bit at the power forward position on Yahoo. And then Trey Mann's another guy that's kind of seen his minutes tick up. He's been inserted into the starting lineup these last few games, and especially the last 3 games, getting over 30 minutes, 41, 32, and 32 minutes. Now, Trey Mann has not shown much consistency this season. Hasn't really shown a massive ceiling. But I think it's another kind of first look value play. I'm fine going to Trey Mann just as of now. I'm expecting him to start once again, expecting him to play over 30 minutes. The last few games, he has shot the ball pretty terribly. Last 2 games specifically, 23% from the field, 33% from the field. He is a pretty score-independent player, but when he's out there, he's taking shots. I mean, 14, 17, and 18 shot attempts the last 3 games. Again, the minutes have been there. Price tag is still somewhat cheap. I think Trey Mann at 4,900 as a value play, I'm fine going to, at least as of now. If you want to play him on Yahoo, he's really, really cheap on Yahoo. I like Trey Mann quite a bit over on Yahoo at $12 at the point guard position. Expecting him to start, play over 30 minutes. He's someone I do like as a pay down option, and that's probably it from OKC. Lastly, I will mention Ty Jerome just because he did start last game in place of Lou Dort. If Lou Dort is out again, I think Ty Jerome at 4,200 would probably start once again and would definitely be on my radar as a another value play we could go to. But really, that's it from OKC. I think that's just about everything I see here. So moving on to the last game of the night, the Knicks and the Jazz. Looking at the Knicks, I mean, they're a team right now I don't have a ton of interest in. Like Julius Randle at 8,800. I mean, he's been really good the last few games. He's been terrible this season. Like, he's been really, really inconsistent. Hasn't been the same guy that we saw last year, but kind of starting to turn things on a little bit. Last 2 games, 49 and 66 Draftkings points, and he's been playing big minutes, 37 and 41 minutes. We know Julius Randle is going to get the minutes. Like, as long as this game does stay close, he will play, high 30s minutes. 8,800, I mean, this price tag is fairly low for Julius Randle. For most of the season, he was priced like above 10K. We are getting a nice discount on him just because he's kind of been struggling lately. The matchup against the Jazz, I don't think is like the best, but, the Jazz are still without Rudy Gobert, so at least makes it a little bit of a better spot. You don't have to worry about Gobert, clogging up the paint or anything, so I'm fine going to Julius Randle. He's probably my favorite play from the Knicks overall. RJ Barrett, his role is pretty good. He's going to play big minutes if it's a close game. Played 50 minutes in that overtime game last game. Literally played almost the entire, he literally almost played the entire game. I mean, he played, 50, he played 50 of 53 minutes. Only sat for 3 minutes last game. He was playing really, really well. He's knocking down a ton of shots. Obviously, RJ Barrett, when he's, knocking down shots, Tibbs will play him huge minutes. If RJ Barrett comes out and is really hot, out of the gate, I mean, he could play 40 minutes again, 40 plus minutes for that matter. 7K is a pretty high price tag for Barrett. I think he's priced where he should be, but we've seen the minutes be there when he's playing well, so he does offer somewhat of a ceiling if you want to go to RJ Barrett. The rest of the Knicks, though, Evan Fournier, Mitchell Robinson, Alec Burks, none of these guys really have much confidence in. I think it's just Barrett and Randle that stand out most from New York. And then lastly, on the Utah side, so Rudy Gobert is still out once again. That's going to make guys like Hassan Whiteside, Azubuike look, better. I'm expecting that we will see Whiteside and Azubuike split the center minutes. That's what happened last game. Azubuike actually did start last game once again. I thought with Whiteside back that they would start Whiteside, but they actually started Azubuike. He played 24 minutes, and Whiteside played 24 minutes. So they basically split the center minutes. Whiteside, he's always been a really good point-per-minute player. I don't know if he's going to come off the bench again or if that was just kind of like a one-time thing. I would have to think that Whiteside will probably be back in the starting lineup at some point while Gobert's out. I think Whiteside is the starting center, when Gobert's out. So if Whiteside does start, at 6K, I have a good amount of interest in Whiteside because I would expect if he's back in the starting lineup, he probably plays high 20s, maybe 30 minutes. 6K is a pretty good price tag for Whiteside when he's playing 30 minutes just because he is a really good point-per-minute player. They're going to need some size out there, going up against a Knicks team or the Knicks team that does play pretty big. So I definitely like Whiteside today, especially if he's back in the starting lineup. Donovan Mitchell at 8,400. Okay option, I guess. Last game against Brooklyn, it was a big-time blowout. Donovan Mitchell only played 22 minutes, but he was really productive in those 22 minutes. It was his first game back from the concussion protocol. Had 42 Draftkings points. Mitchell at 8,400. Don't mind him here. Normally we do see Mitchell priced around 9K, sometimes in the low 9s. So we're getting a little bit of a discount on him from what, his season average is in terms of price. Most of the season he's been priced above 9K. Don't mind Mitchell at 8,400. The rest of Utah, though, Bogdanovich and Conley, I don't really have any interest in. I think it's just Mitchell and then the bigs here. Mitchell, Whiteside specifically, if Whiteside does start, I like him quite a bit. But that's really it from Utah, and I think that's it for these 5 games. So hope you guys did enjoy this video. I appreciate you watching. If you did enjoy, hit that like button down below. Hit that subscribe button as well if you have not yet. Go check out the sponsor of the video, PrizePicks. Go sign up for PrizePicks. Use code NOAH when you do, and PrizePicks will give you a 100% match on your first deposit up to $100. You can take a look at what PrizePicks has to offer, make some picks for tonight's NBA games. You can take a look at their board for the Super Bowl on Sunday. There's a ton of props available. I mean, you can see everything that PrizePicks has available. Obviously, they have your normal props, passing yards, rushing yards, receiving yards. They also have so much other stuff. I mean, they got punts, fourth down conversions, time of possession. Like, they have everything imaginable that you could bet on for the Super Bowl. So if you want to check out some of their props for the Super Bowl on Sunday, you can check that out as well. Again, PrizePicks, sponsor of this video. If you want to sign up, use code NOAH. They'll match your first deposit up to $100. But good luck on this 5-game Monday slate. Appreciate you guys watching the video. Hope you enjoyed. We'll see you in the next one. Good luck, guys.